Hello everybody and welcome to English in the Afternoon. In these series of videos, we'll be focusing on sentence structure. In particular, we'll be looking at different types of sentences that exist in English. We'll go through them in 4 different videos. The 4 types of sentences we have in English are simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. Today we'll be looking at simple sentences. But before we start talking about what makes a simple sentence, let's talk about sentences in general. What is a sentence? What is the minimum you need in a sentence to make it complete? For example, let's look at the following statement. Jenny is happy to be part of the soccer team. This is a complete sentence. It has all the necessary parts. But what are those parts? Let's take a closer look. First, we have Jenny. That will be the subject of the sentence. The subject just means who is the sentence about. A subject can be a person, an animal, a country, a thing, basically anything you want to be the focus of the sentence. In the vast majority of English sentences, you will find the subject at the very beginning. Also, each sentence has only one subject. If you want to include a second subject, it is always better to begin a new sentence. So we determined that Jenny is a subject. Next, we have is, which in this case is the verb. This is the verb to be, and it is in the simple present tense. In English, verbs are usually the things that change the most, and it is sometimes difficult to know which verb tense you need to use. Next, we have happy, which in this case is the adjective. In English, adjectives are words that are used to describe nouns, and they come in many different forms. After that, we have to be, which in this case is the infinitive, and we'll talk about that more in future videos. Part of is what we call a noun phrase. And the soccer team is the object of the sentence. The object of the sentence is related to the subject and usually gives us more information about what the subject is or what the subject is doing. So we can all agree that this is a full sentence. But let's play a little game where we take out words from this statement and see when it stops being a complete sentence. For example, what if we just have Jenny is happy to be? Would that be a complete sentence? The answer is yes. Jenny is happy to be, in this case, just means Jenny is happy to be alive. What if we have Jenny is happy? Would that be a complete sentence? Again, the answer is yes. Jenny is happy is a basic sentence where an adjective describes a subject. It will be the same as saying, I am hungry or my dog is sleepy. How about just Jenny is? Would that be a sentence? Well, believe it or not, the answer is again yes. In this case, Jenny is just means Jenny is alive or Jenny exists. So in English, all you need to make a sentence is a subject and a verb. Now, I admit that a sentence with just a subject and a verb is not always very exciting and does not always give a lot of information. But the minimum you need to make a complete sentence is actually just those two things. However, it is also important to know that all you always need is a subject and a verb. A sentence without those two things is not a complete sentence. We cannot reduce this statement anymore. Jenny by itself cannot be a sentence. Any word by itself cannot be a sentence. But I should also warn you here that not all verbs are the same. So even this rule is not always true. For example, we can say Dan swims or Dan runs, but we cannot say Dan takes or Dan writes, because in those cases we would need to include Dan takes what or Dan writes what. But don't worry about that for now. We'll cover that in a future video. Now that we know what makes a sentence, let us look at what makes a simple sentence. Basically, a simple sentence is any sentence that has one subject and one verb. For example, the company makes a lot of money. The company is a subject and makes is the verb. Or my brother saw the movie twice. My brother is a subject and saw is the verb. Or even this one. Sandy's dog is walking on the wrong side of the road. Sandy's dog is the subject and is walking is the verb. Once again, we can see that verbs can change from past tense to present tense to future tense. That does not change the fact that this is a simple sentence. Also, it's important to know that a simple sentence does not mean a short sentence. The length of a sentence is not what makes it simple or compound or complex. It all depends on the structure of the sentence. Now, let us do a couple of exercises. In the first one, we will identify the subject and the verb in each statement. In the second exercise, we will see if each sentence is complete or not. Number 1, we had our class outside. Number 2, France is the biggest country in Europe. Number 3, James was talking on his phone in class. Number 4, the book was on the table. Number 5, the class begins at 8 a.m. every day. And number 6, the weather outside is very nice today. Look carefully at each sentence and identify the subject and the verb. I'll give you a moment to complete this exercise. So let's take a look at these sentences together. Number 1, we had our class outside. We is the subject, had is the verb. Number 2, France is the biggest country in Europe. France is the subject, is the verb. Number 3, James was talking on his phone in class. James is the subject, was talking is the verb. Number 4, the book was on the table. The book is the subject, was is the verb. Number 5, the class begins at 8 a.m. every day. The class is the subject, begins is the verb. And number 6, the weather outside is very nice today. The weather outside is the subject, is the verb. Now, let's try to see which of the following sentences are complete. If the sentence is not complete, try to figure out what is missing. Number 1, the best thing about living in Los Angeles is the cool people that you always meet. Number 2, going to the store to see what is on sale. Number 3, the book she was reading was about the history of China. Number 4, the computer on the table. Number 5, the teachers and the students wanted to see who was better at basketball. And number 6, the trees outside and the grass on the football field. I'll give you a few minutes to complete the exercise. So the first sentence is complete. The best thing is the subject. I know it is not as clear as other examples we looked at, but it's a subject nevertheless. You can even include the whole phrase, the best thing about living in Los Angeles, as a subject. And the verb is. Number 2, going to the store to see what is on sale. This is not a complete sentence. It is missing a subject. Who is going to the store? Number 3, the book she was reading was about the history of China. This is a complete sentence. The book or the book she was reading is a subject. And was is the verb. Number 4, the computer on the table. This sentence is not complete. It is missing a verb. In order to fix this, we would have to write the computer is on the table or the computer was on the table. Number 5, the teachers and the students wanted to see who was better at basketball. This is a complete sentence. The teachers and the students is the subject. Wanted is the verb. And number 6, the trees in the park and the grass on the football field. This sentence is not complete. It is missing the verb. All we have here are just 2 nouns and nothing else to tell us about those 2 nouns. This is kind of similar to what we talked about in the sentence, Jenny is happy to be on the soccer team. The sentence cannot just be Jenny. In order to fix this sentence, we will need to have a verb and other information about the trees and the grass. For example, the trees in the park and the grass on the football field are maintained by the city of Toronto. Great work, everyone. In the next video, we'll be talking about compound sentences.